When Luke Skywalker went to train to be a Jedi, he didn't go to a big city with technology. No, he went deep, deep, deep into nature. And then you could say, may the force be with you. And the same reason why the orbs won't appear in metal buildings. No, if you want to photograph orbs, you go to nature. Why? It's because the high dielectric constant makes plasma distribution permissive. Okay, so actually, the physics is that biologic materials, the only real useful for architecture, have high dielectric constant because every molecule there joined the club called Get Fractal or Get Dead, called life. And so you use living fabric and living wood and living stone to make biologic architecture. The reason is that increased fractality, named in physics high dielectric constant, enables charge distribution efficiency, the definition of dielectric constant, efficient capacitance. And then your child's aura can unpack permissively. So if you're in an aluminum box, forget it. Or if you're in living material, then your aura can unpack and unfold and feel the implosion of bliss, which is literally the definition of consciousness, which is the increasing size of that plasma donut. So spiritual hygiene, astral hygiene, is literally the physics of learning that every single activity you do, where you choose to go to school, where you choose to shop, which broccoli you eat, and who you choose to kiss, actually, ultimately, the decision is quite simple. Is this going to make my aura bigger or smaller? It's not a complicated question. It's a simple question. Like, is this next trip I'm planning on that aluminum tube with high bias voltage called an airplane that's going to practically destroy my aura, is this trip going to make my aura bigger or smaller? It's a very simple question. And if you ask, the more often you ask that question, the more often you have spiritual hygiene. And the thing is, that's measurable.
I feel like almost going back just a couple hundred years ago with indigenous, folks here in even the Americas and the dreams. So, for example, I am Cherokee Indian, a big portion Cherokee Indian. I don't know much about that side of my family, but the fact that they lived in tents in nature on Earth, and they continue to always talk about their dreams and lucid dreaming and such. I could see now with all of the insight you've given us thus far that this is how that happened. Whereas now living in a big apartment with all of the wires and Wi-Fi, and from every single person having their own Wi-Fi and connection from cable to satellite to whatever it may be, how that noise interrupts your bliss, which is your aura, which is your direct connection to like your own consciousness. Is that, can we say something like that?
Yeah, the magnetic map. In fact, indigenous people who walked for 100 generations on the same magnetic lines, their DNA became so fractal to the magnetic map of the land that they could regularly steer tornadoes. This is Aboriginal songline physics. It's interesting that when we were living in the Cherokee Sacred Burial Ground, our Circle of Life community in Waynesville, North Carolina. And that's when I discovered I had clairaudience after my Kundalini, because I could hear the Cherokee ancestors actually weeping from the beginning of the Trail of Tears. But then later, when I taught at Dahani Wahu's Cherokee Shaman School, Sunray Meditation Community in Vermont, and we showed Dahani, who is the Cherokee grandmother and good friend, the Ophanian alphabet, later used to make the movie Stargate, and the real meaning of the return of bird tribe. That Ophanian alphabet, plasma shadows, John D. and Kelly saw, which is angel physics, because it's the hypercube physics of how you make the plasma, named an angel body. And all the plasma universe physicists these days believe in angels. It's not a problem. But we showed her that ancient alphabet of the angels we used to make when we started the hypercube physics and implosion. She said, oh, that's the alphabet of the ancient star elders of the Cherokee called Adawi. Actually. And you can see those pictures and that conversation at goldenmean.info/Cherokee, actually.
I haven't seen it, and I will definitely go and visit that.
So you have good DNA there, dear. Good work.
Thank you. Yeah, almost 40%, just shy of 40%. So I've been told.
Oh,
so it's pretty